What's up, Twitch and Learn Squared? You are tuning into the KitBash3d Festival. I am Banks from KitBash, and I am very pumped to introduce to you today Alex Figini.
Yo, what's up?
If you are in the comments section, let us know that you can hear Alex as well as me if you want to. And speaking of being in the comments section, this whole thing is about interaction with you guys. So please, I'm going to be manning the comment feed over here and ask questions, stop us, tell us more of what you want to hear, and let us know how better we can make this fun and interesting for you, because we're all about trying to connect with you guys. So on that note, Sinosphilis, I do my best on saying your name, says all good, which I'm saying we're sound in. Thank you, Sino.
Good to hear.
I hope I said your name right. Kalina asks, where are the cats? That's a great question, Kalina.
They've been locked away. Yeah.
They were crawling around earlier trying to chew through some webcam cords.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't be having that.
Oh, Sino is Jan. My man, Jan Urschel, tuning in live here, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, shit.
Oh, fuck,
Pressure's on.
We gotta show up, Alex.
Oh, God.
Man.
All right, I give up.
I hope all of y'all saw Jan's stream last week and the artwork that came out of it, because that piece is fucking amazing. It's on our Instagram as the most highly liked post to date. So Jan, you're the reigning champ. Well, let's talk about a couple things. So Alex, as you all probably know, is a quite legendary concept designer as well as character designer. He comes from Bioware over in Vancouver, which
Edmonton,
yeah. Just down the street. And we all know Bioware from of course, Mass Effect and Dragon Age, and the most recent thing that they put out at E3 was this trailer, which, if it's cool with you, Alex, I want to show.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to toss in here. Bingo. So let's go right here. Bam. Well, I got a notification that we may not have been able to hear sound on that trailer.
Who needs sound?
Who needs sound for that?
Who needs sound? No. All my buddies in sound design are gonna be killing me for saying that.
Well, we'll duly note that that you corrected it. But dude, that trailer is so rad. I mean, when looking at that, I see a lot of your style come to play, especially when we look at some of the suits. I have a sneaking suspicion that some of that I know you can't talk too much about what's going on with Anthem, but it looks like you.
Yeah, well, I did work on some of the suits. There's like that big walker at the start. I did some work on that. But there's also like a massively talented team who obviously are behind the trailer and the game. But yeah, I did some work on that first suit you see, the kind of blue and white one. And then there's the kind of suit you follow through the gameplay trailer. And that one's the the yellow and black one. And I did a lot of work on that suit. Did the interior, helmet, the actual exterior of the armor, and a number of other things as well, which I can't really divulge. But yeah, I spent a decent bit of time on this project, so I'm hoping I've got some of my stamp on it, for lack of a better word. But yeah, hyped about it. Hopefully. Everyone's going to dig it as much as we do.
Yeah, I can imagine having worked on something for so long. On our feed, CB Gouchot says incredible, Alex. Momo Goods says here you go, boys and girls. And Jan coming in hot says maybe you can say a few things you can have worked on. Maybe you can say a few things about what you have worked on, etc. I think that is a great question, Jan.
Yeah.
Well, so
okay.
let's go back a little bit to the beginning, because I know so much about what you're currently working on. This project here is under NDA. So let's just talk about how you began. You know, I know that you started as a 2D artist, am I right?
Yeah, I mean, probably like most of the people listening right now, started out as a kid, like reading comics and watching anime and cartoons and stuff like that, and started drawing and copying stuff from the age of like 7 or so, and then actually started taking it seriously around the time that I had to try and make a decision of what I wanted to do as a career. So around kind of like 15 or 16, and I didn't see myself in the kind of traditional academic type of role and not hating it. So I like actively pursued art and practiced a lot. Obviously it was something I enjoyed, so it didn't feel like work. But then I went to college. I did a foundation course in art and design, which was like a few years. That allowed me to go to university, and I studied multimedia design. And I did like a number of different subjects at uni, from animation to sound design and life drawing and a whole host of stuff. And then one of the modules that I really kind of gravitated towards was game design. And I've always been a gamer since about 5 or 6 years old. Love video games. I grew up playing the Amiga, which will show my age. Most of you guys probably don't even know what that is. But it seemed like a really good fit, having like doing art for games, and I'd never really thought about it as a career opportunity, but suddenly it became like an actual choice. I could kind of pursue this. And then from about the age of 18, 19, really started to take it seriously. Again, you kind of hit this at the start of the convo. I was predominantly a 2D artist, so traditionally it was like pen and paper, pencils, markers, acrylic, that kind of thing. Then going through university, I started to do more like digital art. I bought my first Wacom tablet. It was a tiny little one. It was like, I don't know if you can see on the webcam, but it's like that big. It's like the size of like a Post-it note. And used that until it like bust basically. And started to really see the potential with digital painting. And then I built a portfolio. I was lucky enough to get hired as a junior concept artist at a studio in the northwest of England called Evolution Studio, who was subsequently bought by Sony.
Right.
And I worked there on the MotorStorm franchise for 6 years. So I did a lot of racing games, and did a lot of environment art, some character stuff, And as well as that franchise, we were like part of a creative group within the studio. So we'd like develop pitches for new games and stuff like that. So I worked on a bunch of stuff that never got made, like a lot of people do as well. But yeah, great times. I learned a lot. I worked with a lot of 3D artists who helped me with my work. So often I'd get like 3D bases, and I'd do like paint overs and stuff like that, which is, you know, fairly common practice for concept artists in the games industry. And really started to enjoy that process. So that was kind of like when the start of like 3D really started to slip into my workflow, but it was driven by other people. So now I kind of got to grips with ZBrush, and you know, the more you use it and the more you use that kind of like the rendering software and stuff, the less I seem to do in post, which is kind of a shame. But like the software you have now is like absolutely incredible, and the resources online, Learn Squared, just unbelievable. That stuff didn't exist when I was at uni. I was like going through these huge thick books of how to learn Maya and how to texture and stuff like that, and it was no fun. But the stuff you have now, I'm kind of jealous. I feel like I was born 10 years too early, maybe. But yeah, that was Sony, and then
so how did you get from Sony to Bioware?
So I was working with a guy who was art director at Sony Liverpool, and he actually went over to Bioware like maybe 2003, 2004. And he hit me up. He said, like, we've got a position opening. Would you be interested in applying? I was like, yep, let's do it. So I had like an art test. I had to do like a bunch of different tasks, basically fitting either Mass Effect or Dragon Age, and must have passed the test because they got me for a phone interview, and then from phone interview, I got flown out with my wife, and we got to meet the people there, got to see what the city was like, got to see what Canadian weather was like, which was interesting. And then, yeah, I took the job, and, you know, 5.5, 6 years later, here I am.
What do you think were some of the key performance indicators from that art director you were working with? What do you think he saw in young Alex that said, hey, we got to bring this guy with us all the way across the ocean?
Well, he knew that I was working on racing games for 6 years, and he also knew that I had a love for sci-fi and fantasy, and I probably wasn't getting that creative outlet through my work, and he probably saw that there was an opportunity there for me to develop further. And I definitely think coming to Canada and working with the people I've worked with and on the projects I've worked on has made me a better artist. Definitely, I've learned a number of different skills. As I was kind of touching upon before, the 3D workflow was something that I started to develop at Bioware when like working on our new release, Anthem. So I really started to pursue that heavily, and it turned out to be invaluable, especially working with, you know, production artists. So guys who are actually building levels, people who are building characters, building the suits, building weapons, being able to hand over, even if it's a fairly loose sculpt, is invaluable for the artist receiving it. Like, they actually have something they can approximate volume with, and maybe even you know, there's like a decent bit of detail to actually draw from. And then, you know, for the other departments as well, like animation, game design, you can even hand stuff over to them. So basically, I wanted to like pursue this. I really saw a lot of value in it, and not long after kind of picking up my skills with that, Ash and Mache contacted me to develop the course for Learn Squared. So that's kind of where that came about. But yeah, I mean, that's like, I see it as commonplace now. Like you see a lot of guys, a lot of traditionally 2D concept artists who are like picking up 3D. And as I said before, like the resources available. My course, if you want to buy it,
Yeah,
it's there.
Of concepting in ZBrush with Alex Figini, Momo Goods has just posted a link to that in the feed there.
Good man.
Yeah, good man, Momo. As a matter of fact, I've got it pulled up here too. There is, for some reason, I guess y'all can't hear sound from what I've got. But so I'm gonna try and unplug it. Tell me if I get feedback here.
Concepting in ZBrush. My name is Alex Figini, and I'm a concept artist in the entertainment industry with over 10 years of experience. Originally, I started out in the industry as a 2D artist, but over the past several years, I've started to use 3D software in my workflow, and I've seen immense value in the results. Concepting in ZBrush.
An issue with playback, says concepting with ZBrush. Well, here, the link is on there, and it's right up here. And Momo Goods has passed it in. Steve Teep says, "LOL." Yeah, perfect teaser. Thank you. But aside from Vimeo, the course is amazing. And speaking of which, your apprentice is none other than the Emmanuel Shu, who will be joining us on Wednesday of this festival.
Yeah, man, he nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did really well. There's so much to take in on that course. He absolutely smashed it. I was really impressed.
Let's talk a little bit about how the apprenticeship works with Learn Squared, because I think it's a really cool model. Because as a teacher, you then also get to have a student who doesn't work in this case, ZBrush, right? And
yep.
he gets to then have his experience learning the thing too, right?
Yeah, no, it was really interesting. It brought back a lot of memories for all the struggles that I had when learning the software, and this is the same with pretty much every bit of software. There's always like kind of initial hurdles. ZBrush is like renowned for having like an impassable initial hurdle, and I think that puts a lot of people off. Trying to get around the UI can be a pain. So I was glad to see that a lot of that he was able to overcome. But still, like it was really interesting to see how the course material was digested, the type of questions that came out of it as well. But yeah, it was really rewarding, actually. I managed to distill 4 years of experience and all the problems I had into a few hours of lessons. And I think the progress he made in like 4 weeks was incredible. Like honestly, absolutely incredible to watch him go. And I try and support all my students as well. So most of them have me on Facebook or on the Slack channel. And if they have any questions, I'm eager to hear, and I help out where I can. And I was the same for Emmanuel. I just said, look, hit me up anytime you can, anytime you have issues, and I'll do my best to help. But yeah, no, he was awesome. He was really good, man. And it wasn't just ZBrush. It was like Marvelous Designer and KeyShot as well.
Uh-huh.
And Marvelous Designer, because it's basically a physics sim. You can get some really goofy stuff happen. He did some like really sick work, and I've seen him use it since as well, which is really good. And I think he's been using ZBrush as well to a degree. But yeah, I think it's actually like seeped into his professional like workflow now, like that stuff he picked up from the course.
So awesome.
So it's awesome to see. It's really cool.
I will ask him about that on Wednesday. We're really excited to have him here. Emmanuel Shu, of course, concept designer from Game of Thrones and upcoming Ready Player One. That is Wednesday here at noon. And thinking about Learn Squared, I just think it is one of the coolest resources available. Like you were saying today, I mean, just a moment ago, how these kind of resources weren't available 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago. And it completely changes the game to be able to walk through things with people like yourself. I think it's just one of the coolest resources, and we couldn't be happier to be partnered with them for this KitBash3d festival and getting our product launched and coming out partnered with Learn Squared. Couldn't be a cooler place for us.
Yeah, man, it's a perfect match.
Speaking of our launch, we've got our sample kit contest going on right now, which has been really cool to see. We have on our website, if you go and on our homepage, you can download and try a free sample kit, and there people have taken the sample kit and they've been posting their work with it. And at the end of the festival, we will to have all the artists from the festival are going to take a vote, and we're going to choose one winner who will then win a free kit. At the end of this, we're going to look at the end of our stream tonight. We'll flip through some of those works.
Awesome.
Another thing, speaking of all the artists, we're so incredibly thankful to have guys like Alex here with us, and the artist so coolly in fantastic artist fashion said we will do this, but you gotta give something to the viewers specifically from us for that. So we are gonna unlock a flash sale courtesy of Alex here. So if you go onto our website and all caps type in "Thank you, Alex" in the coupon code, you'll get 20% off your entire order. So we're gonna run that now. There are 3 of them, courtesy of Alex, and when they gone, they gone. But so let's look through just a little bit of your portfolio here. I know what we've got up here is your art station, and we're some of these characters here are from your Learn Squared course, right?
Yeah. You guys are seeing this right now, eh?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. So I'll start with some of the Learn Squared stuff. So these were just like a series of shots that I created through the development of the course, and they're essentially just showing off the character, but also hinting at what you could do in terms of narrative. Admittedly, he's just shooting a gun, but it teaches you all the skills and all the kind of technical know-how of how to set these guys up, how to move them, how to import and basically animate the clothing for different poses in Marvelous Designer, so you can like reuse your assets and get a lot of reuse from them, and basically adding more value, to your work. So yeah, this is there's a bunch here. Some are obviously better than others.
Do you have a name for this guy?
Well, Black Lotus.
Oh, well, there we go.
Yeah. I mean, call him what you want. He's like a kind of weird mech with kind of hints of like insect vibe about him. I didn't really fully develop the world because obviously this was like this was all built around the actual course. So I was more trying to teach like process. There was obviously some thought that I kind of explain and how I'm developing the world and like why I make certain design decisions and stuff like that. But I haven't given him like a proper name other than like Black Lotus. He's not like Frank or Bob or anything like that. But yeah, this was the kind of branding was another exercise in like showing how you can present your work to give like a little bit more of a professional finish. You can develop the graphic design along with the actual character, his own logos and props and stuff like that. So there was a whole host of stuff that I did. I recorded pretty much everything, the whole process, including like the making of the gun and stuff like that. But yeah, there was a fair bit of content that came from that. These were just like tests. So this was during the development of the course, just kind of like a sanity check for me, just like taking work in progress stuff into KeyShot, and taken a few kind of shots really quickly. That's one of the beauties of ZBrush and KeyShot. With the ZBrush bridge, it's like a one button click to export all your super high res models into your renderer. Previously, I was using the same software without the bridge, so ZBrush and KeyShot, and you had to import all your models individually, and they were limited like by a poly count essentially. So this is, and then so to get like a high poly model in, you'd have to decimate it, and that was a whole other process that now is avoidable. So yeah, this is kind of the stuff I did for Learn Squared. The student stuff is just unreal. Like the stuff I've seen the students do is just like holy shit.
Momo Goods on the stream shared some homework that he wants to be sure that I show you. So by the end of this, I'll share some homework with you. And we got a serious surprise guest. Emmanuel Shu has joined us, and he says, "You're awesome, Alex."
Oh man, he's too kind. He's too kind. You're awesome, man.
Super pumped to have you in the room with us. E-Man Shu, everybody. Steve Teep says ZBrush to KeyShot pre-bridge was so annoying. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Speaking of that bridge, now let's maybe you want to jump into KeyShot.
Sure.
And then we can a little later on show how to bridge. I'm sorry, to ZBrush, and then we can later on show how to bridge it.
Sure, no problem. Let me just get the software on the right screen. So
man, your portfolio is so cool though. We could spend the whole session just talking about that.
Yeah, I can ramble, man. I ramble all the time.
I'm into it, man. I'm sure everyone else is. The comments are blowing up about it too. So we'll save that for round 2. Yeah,
man. If anyone on the Twitch stream's getting bored, just tell me to shut up, and I'll just shut up. So I had like an idea of what I wanted to do with the KitBash set, and it was basically building background against some models that I'd already made. So I started off with this kind of mech tank, this kind of it's a bastardized mech tank of like a few different models. And I also have like a KeyShot file of this girl. I'll show you now quickly. So this chick here, I have her like already set up with basically this file here. So I knew what I was going to do. I was going to build a rough scene here, import that into KeyShot, and then import the file with the girl with the cloak, and then get it all in one place, and it'd be super easy. So I managed to get with the help of I think it was Joshua. He helped me get the files up and running in ZBrush, and then I thought a really good way of using the set was to make an insert mesh brush. So if you don't know what that is, it's basically a brush that contains a bunch of different meshes. So if you can see here on the screen, there's this like pop-up box, and I just press M, and it will just show all the different brushes that I've got loaded. So I can see all the Tokyo kit in here, and basically I just started to build my scene around this model. So I just like click and drag, and you can like move your assets. I'm just gonna like rough this in like super quickly, but yeah, you can kind of see the process, and it's so easy to do it like this. And it doesn't need to be perfect at this point. Like I'm just getting stuff in the scene. So I'm just like basically selecting whatever buildings I want.
It's so cool.
Yeah, like I really like using insert mesh brushes just because it gives you so much freedom, and you can just swap and change stuff really easily. So like I had a scene with like a whole kind of row of buildings down here, and I was like approximating how I wanted to shoot this, and then from here, like this isn't the actual scene I was using. This is just like a kind of just to demo the kind of technique. So from here, I just set it up to go to an external renderer, and you press this button for KeyShot, and then you hit this little button up here, this BPR, and it will send everything, like your whole scene, into KeyShot. So that's the ZBrush part, and it's so easy. Like there's not really much more to say from that end. Like the models are beautiful. They're really nicely done. I want to spend more time with them because I only got a few hours yesterday to like kind of test them out, and I haven't even like tried all the buildings yet because there's a bunch here. But they're rad. Like they're awesome. So I can actually I can take you into KeyShot now. So
Alex, I just got word here from Chris, who works with us, that all of your coupon codes are gone.
Oh, that's good.
So
enjoy.
Yeah, I'm pumped that your team's got them. And
awesome.
If you didn't get one but you want one, tune back in later on for tomorrow, I guess, for the rest of our streams this week. So yeah, let's talk about the KeyShot. I mean the ZBrush to KeyShot bridge.
Yeah, so literally I pressed that one button, and it wouldn't come in like this. I can actually show you how it would like kind of come in like a grayscale model. So this would be like, example of like maybe the city. I have all these assets in here, and I can kind of manipulate them individually. So when I set up my camera, I can kind of tweak the shot accordingly. And then I imported a separate file, and you can import the file with materials, with cameras, with the environment map and stuff like that. And I'm just going to open up quickly the file that I was working on. So let's just test this one here. So this is, I actually managed to get some renders out yesterday, just for the stream. So this is the file that I was using. Again, it would have been nice to be able to spend a little more time on it. So you'll have to forgive me for not having the greatest finish. But yeah, I'll show you the scene. I'll show you the kind of the setup, and just like a handful of assets that were already kind of pre-built, and yeah, we got the base for like a set of concepts.
And we'll get as far as we can tonight, but for anyone who wants to keep up with where we're going with this, you can check back in with our Instagram, and we'll post anything that comes out after the fact.
Sure. So this is I'm just gonna change the backdrop quickly so it's a little easier to read. So this is essentially my scene. So it's just like a row of buildings that I've kind of duplicated, and really small down here are my characters and the this mech, this like walker. So yeah, the scene is like really simple. I can just show you now. Let's get some nicer rendering.
I'm going to catch us up on some comments here. Steve Teep says, you guys should consider adding IMM versions of the buildings in the kit. Would add a ton of value for me. That's a good note, Steve.
Yeah.
Momo Good says, mind ... blown. And Kalina says, can't you turn them into IMM?
Yeah, it's super easy. Like basically, the kit comes when you open it in ZBrush. All the buildings are separate subtools. So all you have to do is under the brush menu is create insert multi-mesh and then save it. And that's it. It's done. But yeah, you're right, Steve. It would be good just to have them included so you can just boot them up. But that'll take like 5 minutes to set up. It's not a problem.
Sweet. Thanks for the thought, Steve, and thank you, Alex. So I think what's really cool about this too is this is something that both Jan and Nick Hyatt spoke about last week. You have your characters, you know, what Nick Hyatt calls the noun and Jan called it the centerpiece. And then you have the environment around them that will really help you in the concept world sell your vision to a client, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's so cool because 90% of your effort and energy sometimes is spent on your centerpiece, you know, but then to be able to build something quickly around them to take the whole environment there.
Yeah, often people will need to see something in context, especially when you're trying to sell a world, like a whole world. You know, it's great to like look at designs, you know, on a plain background. And often you'll do that when working professionally. If you're actually just reviewing like the design of a character or an object or whatever. But to make it believable and to bring it to life, you want to see it in situ. And I think like this set here is so easy to build this like amazing architecture, like literally in like minutes. You know, you can construct you know, whole cityscapes. Admittedly, ZBrush might not be the best software for constructing you know, huge cityscapes, but for the purpose of this shot, it worked really well. But yeah, I mean the models, like, they speak for themselves. They're really cool, really nice designs, and they can be used really creatively. Like, admittedly, I've literally just drawn them into a scene as they are, but you could modify them, and you could like edit them to become, you know, something else, or even just kit bashing them together if you wanted to like create a mega structure or something like that. So I think you could use them very creatively. But yeah, like putting these guys in, you know, a Tokyo city scene has never been easier.
One thing that you were just touching on has been so fun for us, seeing all the work that's been made with the kit so far, or in the sample kit contest, is the creativity that's coming out of people. You know, the way they're taking the set models as a jumping off point and then building something, you know, wholly original. It's so cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. I actually, you know, I've been so busy, I've not actually caught any of the other streams, I'm embarrassed to say. So I'll have to catch up and watch them. But yeah, I mean, this, you know, my example may not be the most creative. It's literally just like you know, like a row of buildings, but for the shot and for helping you know, compose the shot and add like big graphical shapes, is you know, it's perfect. It's absolutely awesome. So I'm actually gonna like, I'm gonna take you. Go on.
Kalina asks here first. Steve Teep says cheers, and Kalina asks, could you just drop the models into KeyShot and assemble the scene there instead of in ZBrush to start?
I'm sure you could. Yeah, I didn't. That wasn't my workflow, but yeah, I'm sure you could do that.
Word. Cool. So sorry, jump right into where you are.
Yeah. So I basically set up a bunch of different cameras within KeyShot, which again is like super easy. You know, the one drawback compared to other renderers now is that it's not as quick for complex scenes. So, and also you're not getting stuff like atmosphere in here. So that's something that you can kind of do in post. I'm hoping to like move towards Octane or something similar in the near future. But first of all, I need to build a new rig. So new PC is coming. But like, even with KeyShot, you can make it work. You can actually get depth maps and stuff like that from the render. So yeah, I basically picked a shot and did like a bunch of render passes. And let me just quickly show you here. I'll just take it into Photoshop quickly. So this is you know, maybe like 2 hour render or an hour render or something like that. So it's not the quickest, But this is like the raw shot that I got. So I got a bunch of other maps from it. So I got like an AO map to help push some of the shadows. I got like a lighting map. So I can kind of like, I can push some of the lighting in certain places. And I got stuff like a depth map and like a clown pass. So that makes like editing like so much easier. And being able to use those selection masks to help edit your shots is like, it's such a time save compared to like selecting stuff with like the marquee tool. And it's really easy to set up. Like you just click one button on export and you get all this stuff for free pretty much. So yeah, I'm gonna just kind of like show you how I constructed these different render passes. So I have the lighting layer on like a color dodge, and I basically used a mask to draw in like where I wanted light and where I didn't want to light. Again, super easy technique. You're basically just painting in black and white. I'm not even using my tablet right now. I'm just using the mouse. But you really, like, for me, like lighting is incredibly important when like directing the viewer's eye, and even like, you know, selling a story or drawing focus or whatever. So kind of wanted to add like these kind of like nice diagonals, you know, across the scene to help draw your eye and just like highlight certain things, rather than the whole shot being in light or dark, just like picking up a few of these kind of elements. And then to add that depth, which you don't get off the bat from KeyShot, I just added some atmosphere. So again, it's like a depth mask, which is dropped into the alpha, and there's basically like I've dropped like a color in here, so some kind of like blue for the atmosphere. And yeah, just set that to screen. I think there's one that's like color to colorize the buildings. There's another one set to screen, and that was kind of like the foundation for the PSD, just to bring it away from the raw render. And then I actually did a bunch of work on this on Sunday after I played with the KitBash stuff and everything crashed in Photoshop, that is. So just before the stream started, probably spent like half an hour just doing a little bit more to this base file, just to bring it, you know, a bit further away from the kind of raw render. So I'm just going to take you through some of the kind of edits and stuff that I made, take it from the kind of ground up. So obviously there's the kind of lighting pass and stuff like that. With the kind of the clown mask, it's really easy to isolate, you know, structures that you want to edit. So I wasn't too keen the way this was reading in the shot, this building here. I don't know how well you can see that selected, but I basically just made a mask, dropped a photo in, and, you know, very quickly made an edit to the shot. And again, you can apply that to almost any of these buildings. Super easy to make edits. And yeah, just started layering stuff up again, kind of like looking at how light directs the viewer, and being aware of the kind of the difference in values and how that kind of draws your attention and adds contrast. I spent like, you know, a couple of minutes just getting some shadows in there. Super simple stuff, just like big airbrush on like a multiply layer. So if I take that off, you can see just like really flat, broad shapes. And again, I was using this clown mask here to like control where I wanted to apply the shadow. So like this is like really simple techniques. Like none of this is like crazy groundbreaking or anything like that. It's not highly technical. Really simple stuff just to kind of bring your render up. Then I didn't get any kind of like bounced light from the raw render. So I just airbrushed a little bit of bounced light up here, just to kind of give the impression that they're actually on some kind of surface. And then yeah, just a few little edits, like again pushing the kind of light, you know, this kind of like diagonal across the scene, and I wanted to use it to like highlight the mech and this cloaked character. So I've just masked them out, and I've unlinked the mask and the actual the layer. So I can kind of just move it about and play about with where I want the light to sit. And yeah, like that's close to it. I did a little bit of smoke, just to kind of maybe they're there because there was like some kind of explosion or something like that. There's like some kind of narrative behind, you know, why these kind of militarized people are in the scene. And then yeah, a bit of color grading. And a little bit of kind of like post, and yeah, I think it's not like this is like far from like a finished piece, but for half an hour of editing, it's not too bad, and it's so easy. Like there was nothing like super technical about any of that stuff. You probably don't even need a Wacom to do most of that process, to be honest. But yeah, that's kind of where I got up to with this render.
It's so cool to see how fast you can throw something really awesome together.
Oh, it's super quick, man. Like I can't imagine how long this would have taken even a few years ago. Coming from like Maya, and even just like 2D illustration. The speed at which you can get this and the fidelity, you know, as long as you have the time to render, then you could blow this up to like whatever size you wanted. You could spend more time on the materials. Like admittedly, the materials that I used were very limited. I didn't really have time to tweak them for all the buildings. And in fact, I think the mech is like all one material. But yeah, given a little bit more time, you could really tweak those shaders and get that different kind of surface response that kind of makes an image like this like really appealing. It'd be good.
What would you do next? We have a little bit of time. I'm sure the audience would be pumped to see you work a little bit.
I'll probably like start adding some like damage and stuff like that into the shot, to be honest. I've actually got some reference here. Let me see if I can grab some stuff. Like a bit of texture and stuff like that would probably be good. Let's see. Just got some random stuff from my reference folders. Let's have a look. So yeah, I mean, like this is kind of like my process from back in the day. It'd be like paint something, photo bash it, and then yeah, like you're almost making kind of like a collage to a degree, and then like working into it. But yeah, I mean, there's no like right and wrong, as it were, with the way you attack this kind of stuff. Let's see. So yeah, I just like add like a little bit of texture here and there. Let's see. And some of it's just to like break up like some of the clean lines, you know, that you get from like a raw render.
Make it less shiny.
Yeah, and like less perfect.
Right.
You know. And even just like adding in some like different kind of architectural stuff. You know, if I wanted to like add some different kind of shapes in here, I could use like some photos on top of the 3D. Let's have a look. Just mask that out. Are there any questions that people are?
Good point. Let's see what we got. Forrest Lamb says, when in doubt, use fog.
Fog is good.
Ken Fairclough says, yo, yo, yo.
Oh, shit. Ken's on the line.
Ken's in the house.
Yeah.
And Kalina says, so many surprise guests. Hey, Ken. And Ken says, hey, exclamation point. How you doing, Ken?
Ken's awesome, man. He's a colleague of mine.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah. He's rad. What should I do, Ken? Tell me.
Yeah, Ken,
give me some advice, buddy.
Ken, where should he go from here? We've got about a 15-second lag on the comments, so from our OBS to the screen. Tom Paul says, loving the work, guys, rad stuff. Tom, we've got a surprise for you coming up here in a minute too. Cool. Well, actually, let's while you're doing that, I'm just gonna pull up a thing. Okay, Ken says, "Burn the city down." There you go.
Right. Well, we've got fire coming, my friend.
He read your mind. Yeah, you guys must work closely.
When in doubt, add VFX.
Yeah, embers, fire, and smoke.
Love that shit. Fucking love it.
Yeah, here we go. Coming right at you. This is fun. I like this idea of paint it by committee.
Do you know what? It often happens like that, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe too much fire. Let's have like a little hint of it back there.
Give you a thought of what's happening in the distance.
Yeah. Might use it to like highlight this guy here.
Mm-hmm.
This is the majority of my job is like putting something in and then fucking about with it and then deleting it.
Yeah.
That's
right.
Yeah.
Trial and error and then changing your whole scene.
Yeah, just delete it all. Just delete everything.
Ken says we need some more blue and orange, and Kalina
blue
says
and orange.
Some flares.
Not enough. We need more. More blue.
More blue and orange, says Ken, and Kalina says some J.J. Abrams flares.
Oh, I gotta leave the flares off. Too much flare. I could do a little bit of bleed from like the sun or something.
That's cool.
Let's have a look.
Give us
I've got like a whole host of like stuff that I can lay over. So I'm just digging in some reference.
Yeah, Tom Paul says it's the old 70-30 rule. 70%'s moving it around, and 30%'s deleting it.
That's it. Yeah. He's not wrong, man. Where's Tom Bean? I've not seen him for a long time. Where you been, buddy?
Come on, Tom. Well, while we're on the subject of Tom, let me show you something here. Which I wonder, can you see my screen? No, maybe
I cannot see your screen.
Maybe not. Well, how do I get this to you? Well, I want to show this. Maybe we'll just... Shit, I want you to see this too.
How's that going to work?
I don't know. Maybe I can share my screen with you.
Oh, man. Screenception.
It's too many screens. I'm going to share with the audience, and we'll pull some questions from the audience.
Describe it to me.
This is a castle that Tom has made with our Gothic kit, and he's got two different directions going on, and he's asked on Instagram to help us choose, or help him choose. So he's got one that is light and the other that is Gothic.
Cool.
I'm gonna put it to the audience. Throw in your votes to help Tom out. But this is rad work with our sample kit, Tom. Super pumped to see what you do with it. And Alex, I'm gonna have to send this to you so you can get your vote in too. It's cool. He's done something totally wild with it. He's used it in ZBrush and made a watercoloring almost of it. It's like
Oh wow,
it's like a drizzling sandcastle.
that's awesome.
Kalina votes Gothic. Oh no, she says Gothic.
Got it.
Bingo. Oh, I like the embers.
Yeah, concept art win. All I need is a toaster. And yeah, we're good. We're good.
I mean, the speed is just baffling to me, compared to where it used to be. It's just, you can come in so fast now, and within, 8 minutes, you can add so much story and layer into the narrative that you're trying to express.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I have like a whole host of stuff that I can draw from, which I guess you kind of you gather over years. But yeah, like digital art it's so flexible. You can do so much with it. I've been going back through like my old sketchbooks and stuff, and I'm like, my God, just the jump you have now is just unreal. It's incredible. Like all the kids that are like learning, I say kids, they're young adults, but all the people who have access to this resource now, like they're like leaps and bounds ahead. It's unbelievable.
And
right.
Talking about the references, or like the visual spice rack, your library that you accumulate over the years, do you deliberately spend time like hunting and pulling things that give you inspiration one way or another?
Less so now. If it's like a new project, then definitely. Or if it's something that I don't feel I have a good grasp of, then I'll definitely do a lot of research. But I have so much to draw from now. I don't do as many of those big like reference gathering stints that I used to. But gathering reference is like invaluable for like pretty much any project you do. To be fair, I do like whenever I approach a new task, I usually do like research it to a degree. And like assemble like a collage of stuff that I find inspiring. But it's the more I do it and the longer I've been doing it, the less I rely on that, because I have more in my my mental bank, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But obviously there's you can never get enough, as it were. And I'd always say, like, regardless of the project and how much you know and your experience, and researching is invaluable. Always.
I don't know any artist across probably any medium, any director or writer or painter that doesn't have a very deliberate reference in their background. But I think that's just how we take in the world. We take our own experience in this human form and then repeat it and change it and sort of kitbash it in our own way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we digest it and then spit it back out. I mean, like all the stuff that I do, I guess is it's like an amalgamation of my likes, my experiences, stuff I've seen, and I've kind of digested it and put it through my filter, whatever that is, my brain or whatever, and kicked it out the other side, be it good or bad.
Yeah, well, I like where you're going with this one.
Yeah, just layering in a bit of damage here on the building. Maybe this is like post-fight, so they've just had like some kind of some showdown with some Terrormen, and they've come in, they've blown the place up. Let's see. Maybe put some damage on this vehicle here. Like, yeah, like all this stuff is like pretty much untouched. Like there's no texture on this really. I'd probably what I'd probably do if I was going to make this like a really finished illustration would be to spend more time up front in the in KeyShot, and like tweak and like spend like a fair few hours like tweaking materials, and then you get more out of it in the long run. But I don't want you guys to sit here watching me like play about with sliders and stuff. I don't know how valuable that will be.
Well, and we are almost out of time, but I want to ask you in the concept design process, how I know you want to every time you present something to have it so refined, but at the speed at which you're turning projects over, how do you manage that? How do you manage, giving a full piece or just a minimum viable product of it?
It depends at what stage in development you're at, and even on the task, like, is it the initial pass? If it is, then you're probably not going to want to do like a fully detailed final image, right? You want to get feedback, and if it's something that the art director wants to pursue or that other people like, that's when you invest more time and do something a little more finished. The beauty of like working in ZBrush is that you can very quickly, in like an hour, make like a rough sculpt. And one of the most important things when working in video games and film would be understanding that volume, right? So you can really quickly get a good grasp of like a character's volume or a weapon, and then even if it's like essentially like primitive shapes or like a loosely sculpted character or creature, you do get a really good vibe for that. And it's either something that you're gonna like, or it's something that you really don't like, or maybe it's something you want to pursue, and you can just revisit that sculpt and develop it further, as opposed to like drawing something from scratch. And one thing I do a lot of is like getting older kits and like bashing them together, like kit bashing my models, or repurposing them. So like the guys in this scene, like the tank is kit bashed out of 2 different tanks. That's why there's like a slightly different design language from the top and the bottom. And the girl is from like another scene where she's just kind of like a standalone character. And then I've quickly just chucked them together into one scene, popped in a background.
Which is how most things are in life. I mean, if I just looking at my desk, like I've got pieces from so many different things that all make the system that works for me.
Yeah.
It's so similar to any piece of art is pieces come together.
For sure.
Or any machine.
And like, you can just chuck it away if you don't like it. Just start again.
Well, I know we've run a little bit over time, and thank you, Alex, for going over time with us. I could watch you do this for a very long time, and I'm sure the rest of our audience could as well. But I know it's late for you, and you got a full week in front of you. So let's put a hold on this one.
Cool.
Wrapping up the questions, we got a cue from Forrest Lamb. He says, when is the deadline for the KitBash3d competition? Good question, Forrest. We will go until the end of next week. So we have our KitBash3d festival that goes all this week. We've got streaming every day with Nick Hyatt tomorrow, who is reprising his stream from last week where he is where he's going to do the vote was to see drunk Batman in an Art Deco scene. So we'll see what he comes up with for that. We've got Emmanuel Shu, who just popped up in the feed, and who says, great stuff, man, to you, Alex. And he's going to be streaming on Wednesday with us. And then on Thursday, we've got Justin Gopi Fields, who is, you all know who Justin is. And then on Friday, we've got Derek Zabraki. And then it continues next week. So by the end of the festival, a couple days after that, we're going to take all of the sample kit pieces of art that have come out, and we are going to have all the artists vote on their take at it. Great question for us, and thanks, man. Keep banging out a something with the sample kit, and everyone out there, it's not too late. Go grab one. You saw how fast Alex can work. I mean, I guess not everyone can be as fast as Alex, but you see how fast you can make something. So get creative and make your own piece. Alex, thank you so much for being here with us, man. We greatly appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure. I wish I'd had something a little nicer to finish with.
Well, hopefully we'll get to do this again.
Yeah, let's do that.
Awesome, man. Huge thanks to Learn Squared for making this all possible for us. Big thanks to Alex Dory and Mo Thame for producing this. Thank you all very much for tuning in. We greatly value your time here. If you're checking us out on YouTube, thank you. Go to the website, engage with us, hit us up on Facebook or Instagram, where you can see tons of Alex's work too, and links to his social media as well. On that note, everybody have an awesome night.
Thank you very much. See ya.
See ya. If I can figure out how to...